This is the GOAT Power Bike's 96 volt Dirt Goat, and it has the largest battery of any e-moto we've ever tested. And with a competitive price, the Dirt Goat is worth a review. Well, here it is, the 96 volt Dirt Goat. We're gonna rip through these specs super quick and head straight out on a ride. This bike's been in our garage for a couple of months now, and we're excited to finally review it and ride it. So, this battery is packing a huge punch. We are rocking 96 volts, 50 amp hours, which is 4,800 watt hours. I'm gonna put our range test chart here so that you guys can see how massive that battery is compared to every other bike that we have tested. It is bigger. The only bikes that are larger are our Surron Ultra Bee with a $4,000 upgraded battery. So I'm not really counting that. It's not a stock bike. But this bike should absolutely destroy our range test, which is a next video coming super soon, so stay tuned for that. We are packing 15 kilowatts of power out of this motor. We have a large center display here. We have a 19-inch front wheel and 18-inch rear wheel. We do not have a jack shaft or a gearbox or anything. It is coming straight direct drive out of the motor to our rear sprocket. As you can see, we also have a massive 18-inch rear wheel and tire setup. So that's gonna be comfy and grippy out on the road. We also have a full moto seat. This opens up and you can remove the battery. You can charge it in the bike or out of the bike. We'll show you how to do that later on. We'll show you all the other quirks and features about the bike later, but right now I'm really curious to see how much this thing weighs. All right guys, as you can see, we are floating off the ground, and on our hanging scale, we are showing 182.6 pounds with battery installed. This is ready to ride, ready to go. And a full charge too, you know, you lose some weight when your battery dies. Well, at 182 pounds, it is heavier than its competition. However, that's to be expected with the massive battery. But what really matters with a bike is how it rides. Sometimes weight doesn't play as much of a role as we think. Let's go test that out. All right, guys, here we go out on the Dirt Goat. This thing is a 96 volt beast. Now, I need to get something out of the way really quick. This bike that I am on right now is a pre-production bike that GOAT Power Bike sent to us. Since then, they basically call this the V1. Now they have the V2 that has been released, which has a lot of changes and upgrades. And that's the one that the public can buy. And then they are also still very quickly improving and working on the version 2 model to make it even better. So this review is not a perfect representation of what the full delivery bike will look like if you were to purchase one today. So let's get into that right now. So as you guys saw pop up on screen a minute ago, this bike is $5,250 right now. And if you guys want to purchase one, we do have an awesome discount code that they gave to our viewers. So that will be down in the video description. I believe it's $250 off. So with that, our version 1 has a lot of the changes that have been implemented on the V2 already on it, but there's still a few things that we haven't had changed that I won't talk about a ton. But they've already upgraded the suspension fork compared to the one we have. It's a big upgrade. This is a D&M, the new one is a KKE. And then they also have upgraded the power drive mode. So there's now 3 modes where the bike I'm on only has 2. There's also higher end switches and button panels. I do have the upgraded display that will come on the V2. I do have the new larger 18-inch rear wheel and tire. I also have a new seat that comes on the V2. I also have a new taller handlebar that comes on the V2. Like this bike was actually quite different when we received it to the point that I'm riding it now. And we'll talk about that a little more later on in the video. So I just wanted to get that out of the way, that I am riding a pre-production bike, and the one that you guys will get is not a pre-production bike, and will be ready to go, ready to rock, and we'll have a lot of the things that I talk about today fixed and improved. And then the other thing is that Goat Power Bikes has been really interested in getting feedback from us and using it to improve their bike, which I'm really excited about, because I can't say that for all e-moto companies. Not all companies really care at all about feedback from the riders or the reviewers. But Goat Power Bikes was super interested. They're working with us. We've given them a lot of feedback and tips to make their bike better. So we're excited to see where they go as a company. I think they have a lot of promise with this being one of their first models. They also have a 72 volt version of this bike that's the same frame and a lot of the same components, that is lower power, smaller battery. But I'll be honest, if you're gonna get a Goat Power Bikes, this is the one to get in my opinion, because it has that party piece of just the huge battery. Top speed run, here we go. GPS all ready. We are in sport mode. Here we go. All right, let's see what we got. 58.9. There it is. Not too bad. It's not quite as fast, I think, as they say on the spec sheet, but that's still fast nonetheless. It's right in line with its competitors like the Talaria MX5, the Eride Pro SS 3.0. Both those bikes really go about 60 miles an hour, about 59, right in that range. So that's good. We got 15 kilowatts of power. Our throttle is fairly jumpy in sport, the way it's tuned right now on the controller. It also doesn't have that much low-end torque. With it not being a gearbox or kind of a belt jack shaft setup, it doesn't have a gear reduction. It is just more of a direct drive from the motor, and so you don't get that much real low end. Now, it still goes when you floor it, you know, but like a Talaria or an Eride Pro, you can bang the throttle doing the speed I'm doing now and the wheel will come up and you can pop a wheelie. This bike really can't pop a wheelie at all. It just doesn't have enough torque. Like, let me just try here. So I'm going, you know, probably like 5 miles an hour. I can floor it. Oh, I did get it to go up at 5 miles an hour, but I had to lean back and really try. Let's try it like, 10 miles an hour. Nope, I can't get it. I only got about 3 inches off the ground there. So it just doesn't have the torque where, like a Talaria MX5 or an Eride, you can be doing 20, 25 miles an hour, you know, 3 or 4 times the speed of this bike and still pop it up in a wheelie. All right, we're gonna do a quick drag race. Romney is on the Dirt Goat. I am on our MX5 that has the EBMX X9000 controller, makes it a little bit faster. This is about 16 kilowatts. That is 15 kilowatts, so they should be pretty even. But like I've talked about, this bike has a lot more torque. So let's see what happens. 3, 2, 1, go. So I am blitzing him. So I smoked him off the line, but then, you know, I wasn't gaining near as fast as I was before. It's just mostly off the line. I smoke him with all my extra torque. That's how that bike feels. I mean, they feel very similar once you're up to speed, but this has so much more low-end acceleration and torque that doesn't have. And I waited until he went before I went. Let's jump back to that price point. So $5,000 after you use our discount code. That's right in line with a lot of competitor bikes that have very similar stats. So let's take the Talaria MX5 for instance. That bike with the increased price because of the tariffs is $4,900. And so that, we're just kind of right in line with that bike. However, this bike has a battery that's like 75% bigger. It's not even close. This bike also has more power at 15 kilowatts versus the 13.5 that comes on the MX5. Then let's compare it to a Eride Pro SS 3.0. That bike was originally $5,100. Now with the raised price because of tariffs is actually now $5,800. That bike had to raise a lot, unfortunately. In my opinion, it's still totally worth the money. But that bike has a 72 volt 50 amp hour battery, which is a lot larger than the MX5, but still not even near as large as the battery in the Dirt Goat. That bike is 16 kilowatts, so it has a little bit more power than the Dirt Goat. That bike also has quite a bit more torque. That's just something to keep in mind. The MX5 and the Eride 3.0 are also both lighter than the Dirt Goat, but not by a huge margin. The MX5 is about 10 pounds lighter. 3.0 is about 15 pounds lighter. So I guess that is fairly noticeable, but those are kind of the two bikes that are the direct competitors to this one. But man, if you want the bike that's gonna go the furthest, this is gonna be it. All right, let's try this hill climb. Whoa, that was slick. Whoa, I don't know if we're gonna make it. Oh, this rear tire has so much traction. Holy cow. Wow, that thing just kept chewing. I've ridden a lot of other bikes up that climb, and a lot of them just stop halfway up because they just don't have the traction to keep going. Oh my goodness. These downhills are sketch. I gotta say, the front of this bike feels really low with how big the rear tire is. Really raises the back end up. That was steep. This is a pretty hard climb. Romney's been walking up the top on the MX5. Yo, I'll tell you what, this thing does climb really well. It has a really long wheelbase and a huge back tire and a lot of like mid-range power. The throttle is really nice and responsive in the mid-range. The low range is what it lacks a bit. I gotta wait for Romney to come on up here. Look at this view though. Yeah, get your speed. Oh no, oh no. We got a turned up MX5 right here. Jeez, I don't think you guys realize how steep it actually is. Like, it really is steep. I don't know how Romney's gonna get down this, to be honest. Oh, she okay? She's fine. All right, I gotta go back down to be able to get a run up in this. Just gotta be able to feather the throttle.
It's my first time on the Dirt Goat on this beautiful day, on this beautiful trail. I've just been riding the MX5 that we have, and this is a lot more jumpy. The throttle's a little harder to manage. It's got a bunch of deadband, but definitely has some power underneath the hood. It's going up these hills pretty easily. The suspension feels a little softer. I think it's the battery. The battery's clonking around. It has a bunch of space on the bottom of it that makes it clonk around, so maybe that's what I'm hearing. It kind of sounds like the back of the bike, but I think it's the battery. There goes Lance. Freaking ripping. No fear.
What Romney doesn't know is we have to go up that.
You gonna go up that?
We have to.
Oh my word. Just stay on this trail.
We can't. I'll show you why. Come on. All right, we'll show Romney why we can't go on this trail. Because there is a reason up here.
Wow. Holy cow.
Yep. That's why we can't go this way, Romney.
That happened recently?
No, it's been a few years.
Dang. That's crazy.
Yeah, careful on that. It cave in.
Holy crap. That's big.
The rear tire's nice, huh?
Yeah, it is.
Like, look at this difference, you guys. This is a worn out MX5 stock tire, but still look at the difference between this size and this size. It's huge. But what I will say is the geometry kind of feels really off having such a large 18 rear and such a small tire 19 front. I wish they had just done a 21 in the front. This actually has a bigger diameter, taller diameter than the front. So the back is actually higher in a way than the front, which kind of makes the front wash out a little bit and stuff. It just doesn't quite feel right. When they originally sent us this bike, they sent it with a 16 rear with a nice moto tire on it. We were so excited about that because we love bikes with 16 in the rear, 19 in the front. And as one of their upgrades, they sent the 18. So they wanted us to run it with the 18, not the 16. All right, here we go. Oh, yo, no feet down, no feet down. Come on, baby. Come on! In the crack, no feet down. Oh, no feet, no feet. Come on, come on. Oh, foot down. Dang, that is nasty though.
Well, I'm not very good at hill climbs. I tend to not hit the gas enough and I don't know, just not stay on top of it. So we'll see how this goes. We'll see.
There's not a chance Romney's making that. I have to go give him a little help. That is nasty.
Slowly but surely going up the hill. Holy frick, that's really far. Woo! This is crazy, man.
Yeah, these trails are gnarly. They don't look it on camera, but they're coming from someone that hasn't ridden too much. Are they a lot harder than you expected from some of our other videos?
They're a lot harder.
All right. So what I will say about this dirt goat is that it's got that long wheelbase and that grippy tire, but I'm not used to it. Let's see how this hill climb goes. Whoa! My chain either broke or came off. Came off. Come here.
Shoot, really?
Oh, there we go, I got it.
Oh.
It's not on very tight. Holy cow. Did it like...
Wow. That is super loose.
What happened? It was not... Oh, it's off of the front sprocket too, I think.
Man.
A few moments later.
Our camera wasn't recording while we put it back on, but
yeah.
It came off the front and the back because it's too loose. That really is why. So we got a lot of play here, a lot of play here. But to be honest, this only loosened up after like this one ride. It was tensioned right when we started the ride. I checked it twice. And you also notice it's grinding right here on our linkage pretty bad, and right here pretty bad, to the point where my gloves have all this shiny metal shavings on it,
check that out.
which isn't nice. I mean, it's just from touching the chain. Got to give these gloves a wash, but we got to go climb the hill again because we need some redemption.
Gonna get redemption.
All right, guys, here we go. Redemption time. Let's keep this chain on. Ah, I lost it there. I'm going again. Jumping the roots. Oh. Okay, well, I think officially our chain is too loose. The trail is either too rough or the chain is just too loose. Or some of both. These gloves are gonna need a wash.
Yeah.
Is it still not popped on, or is it on?
It's barely not on. That looks good.
There
Yep.
we go.
All right, rip it, Lance.
Let's go to the top. Turn my bike back on. Little top tip. Always turn your bike off when you put your hands down around there.
Yeah.
Around your chain area. Oh.
It's like a table saw.
Man, this chain is loose. Well, we're headed back down the mountain. I'm kind of taking it easy, trying not to make my chain fall off again. This review is a little bit of a different one because this was a pre-production bike. It's missing a lot of the foam padding in the battery compartment that they've already addressed, and this has a lower end D&M suspension fork than they also have upgraded and added to the bike since this one was sent to us. And you know, there's a few other odds and ends. They're also working on better brakes. And so it's kind of like a lot of these things that I don't like about the bike have been fixed and addressed. So I'm trying not to be, you know, really negative or let that hold this review back, you know, in kind of our rating of the bike. All right, guys, thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this review and you want to pick up a Dirt Goat, check that link down in the video description and use our discount code. And if you haven't already subscribed to our channel, you're going to want to do it right now, because at 50,000 subs, we're giving away another e-moto, and you guys aren't going to want to miss it. Thank you guys so much for watching. This isn't the last time you're going to see the Dirt Goat. They are continually improving stuff, and so we're going to continue to get those upgrades and changes made to our bike and continue to revise our review based on what's coming to customers. And as they improve, you know, so is their bike, and I'm sure there'll be more models coming out from them in the future as well. We also have a range test coming very, very soon. You're not going to want to miss that, because I think this might top the range test chart. Thank you guys so much for watching. We'll catch you next time. See ya.